Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Summit Seekers. Today we have Hector Marcel, the president of Three Jewels, which is a yoga and meditation studio in New York City. He's also an organizational change management consultant and a master teacher of meditation. Thanks for joining me today, Marcel.
You're welcome again.
Yes, again, I
Do
know
we, do we tell people?
yes, we can, Hector. So we recorded this like over almost 2 weeks ago, and then had technical issues after the after the recording. But I'm thankful that you were willing to do this again.
Yeah, I like that you're so kind about it. Technical issues. Hector shut down the computer before the thing could save, and I destroyed the whole episode.
It happens. It's okay. Who knows? Maybe we were meant to have another conversation.
Yeah, it's been 2 years that we know each other now.
I know.
2023 and
That's
2024.
true. That's true. I like that perspective.
Yeah, the conversation that spanned 2 years.
I know, right? How funny. Um, so yeah, I really enjoyed our previous conversation.
Same.
I know that we tapped into the self. I know that was something you and I spoke about. I know a lot of us get confused in terms of the self because we feel as though, or we've been told to some degree that we are everything, yet we're nothing, yet there's this void inside of us. It's just kind of all confusing for, I think, most people. So what's your take on what the
Yeah, I
self
mean, it
is?
confused me too for the longest time, but I collected all that information. So it's okay that we're confused. It's no problem. We've gathered data as entities
Yeah,
on the planet. We've
yeah,
gathered data. Am I a self? Am I not a self? And who the bloody hell is asking? Like,
right.
and so
Yeah,
it wasn't, and I read books and I backpacked and I'm like, okay, I exist, I don't exist, I exist this way, I don't exist that way.
right.
It's a very profound question, and some people give up. And I swear to you, if you understand what those things are referring to, you will take the steering wheel for your own life again. Might be a bumpy road. It probably will be, but you're driving instead of guessing or letting something else drive. And what I mean by that is, here's the shortcut, but I can tell you what I've come to realize and understand through 27 years of study. And for me it was the Tibetan Buddhists who had such a mountain of literature around it that once I understood it, it clicked and everything made sense. Yes, there's a self. No, there's no self. Yes, there's a void inside you. No, that it doesn't mean there's nothing. Like
Right. Yeah.
those things are all true, but they don't mean what we thought it meant. And that's where we have a problem. Because if I'm not a self, then who the hell is talking? The problem. Yeah. If I'm everyone, well, I don't feel your pain. Sorry. I wish I could. I know we have similar pains. But honestly, if someone cuts your body, I'm like, if they cut my body, I'm like, oh no. you know,
Right. Yeah.
I don't brush your hair. I don't have any hair. Like it's So are we everybody or are we not everything? Are we the entire universe? It's a nice idea. It's a great idea and it's inspiring, but what does it really mean and how does it help us transform what we're currently experiencing into all the promises of all these practices like meditation and yoga and the rest? And the practices promise that you should Buddha, you should wake up, that you would become enlightened. What does that mean? If
Yeah.
I'm not a self who gets enlightened. And so I'd love to talk to you about that. The shortcut is, yes, of course you exist. There is a self. There's a nominal self. And here is the word, right? Nominal self. There's one being that I call Hector. And the way that thing exists is changing over time.
Mhm.
I'm not the same Hector as I was when I was 5 years old. Yeah.
Right.
Like this arm is definitely bigger, right? And
Right.
my thoughts are different. The
Right.
only thing that's remained consistent is I label my whole experience as Hector. Yeah. But even
Right.
that flavor of Hector, depressed Hector and happy Hector, Same Hector or different Hector? So the Buddhists are really good at analyzing all that. And I'm like, damn, that's why they meditate. They're like, let me think. Is Hector an angry Hector or a happy Hector? Oh, because we
Right.
say Hector is angry and Hector is happy. So there's a Hector that owns both of those. Where is he? Yeah, so we go
Right.
meditate. Yeah. So, and when you go looking to all these infinite versions of Brandy, yeah, all
Mhm.
these infinite versions of Hector, all these infinite versions of the self, you will come up empty. You will come up, there's no self like that. There's no
Right.
Hector that is just angry all the time. That's an impossible Hector. A Hector that is angry all the time in exactly the same way doesn't exist, cannot exist, never existed. But we think that way. We take on identities and we put it on like armor. And if you don't fit that identity, I'm upset or I'm attached. If you really like
Right.
my identity, I'm like, oh, please stay. I'll be my girlfriend or be whatever, like.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then when you leave, I'm like, oh no, I'm broken because
Right.
you're relating to a self that is a changing thing. Yeah. If you like me when I'm upset, you're not going to like me when I'm happy. And so
Right.
the answer's true. You exist, but not the way you think you exist. There's no Hector
That's
that's permanent. Yeah. That's
right.
no Hector. Yeah.
Yeah,
No
that's
self.
so interesting because I know that I grew up in a Christian household, and um it wasn't until I was in my like mid 20s that I really started to question some of the things that I had been taught my whole life. And
Yeah.
one of the main things um that I would say really affected me in terms of growing up Christian was this whole notion of that you're born with a purpose, right? God gives you a purpose and you have to figure out what that purpose is. If you
Mm.
don't, you're like cosmically screwed because you haven't been doing what you're supposed to be doing. So the whole
Yeah.
concept of identity has really been a struggle for me for like a really long time because it's trying to figure out like the labels and the, I'm a mom, I'm a girlfriend, I'm a daughter, I'm X, Y, and Z. But in terms of my impact in the world and trying to, I guess, figure out who it is that I am, truly, and how I can translate that to others and help
Oh,
others. It's been such a struggle because, kind of like what you said, I'm constantly evolving. We all are.
yeah. So that's beautiful. A couple of things. You said truly as a word, and that's a big word in Buddhist philosophy. Okay.
Okay.
Truly means really, capital R really. Yeah,
Mm.
like big really, ultimately
Yeah.
really,
Yeah.
for real really. Yeah, how are things really, really?
Yeah.
Who's Brandy, not
Yeah.
not mom Brandy, not girlfriend Brandy. Yeah, like
Yeah. Yeah.
who am I really? And that's what they've been asking 2,500 years. Well, the Buddha said it, and then everyone else is arguing about it, and that's how you get all these Buddhist schools throughout Asia. And forget the dogma of an organized group of people who have been thinking about these things, and then we call them a religion or a practice or a thing. Forget that. It's just groups of people figuring out that same question. It's like, wait. Who am I really? I know
Yeah.
that I can be happy. I know I can be angry. I know I'm a mom. I know I have this kind of, I know I'm a changing thing.
Yeah.
But which of those am I? And it's the wrong question.
Yeah.
We're all of them.
Yeah.
And we're all of them in little r reality. Because when you're a mom, you're a mom. And when you're angry, you're angry.
Yeah.
But then you're not that.
Yeah.
You're something else. So we're all of them depending on the moment of changing, the way we're perceiving ourselves being. Because you might be angry and your daughter might laugh at you and she thinks you're being funny.
Right.
So who are you really? Am I angry because she thinks I'm funny?
Right.
And
Right.
this comes into so that's little r reality. We're relatively a thing, a self towards ourselves and others, depending on time, yeah, and depending on the circumstances. And we can go and investigate that. That's called relative reality or relative truth. It is true that you're an angry mom today, but you don't
Right.
have to be tomorrow, and you won't be tonight. Yeah, that will
Right.
disappear. Everything that comes goes. It changes. But ultimately, that question really, Brandy, it's a powerful question. Who are we really? Capital R really, you know? What's the truth here? Capital T truth, a truth that is
Yeah.
unshakable to everything else. And and this is a profound answer, this is where the idea of emptiness comes in. Yeah. And we misunderstand that word in English, but emptiness, tongpani in Tibetan, means what you went looking for there in this thing that you are a thing. You will not find angry mom as a permanent thing there. So you're not that really. You're also not the successful, happy mom either, really, because that will come and go. All of it will come and go. Except
Right.
that's relatively speaking, meaning relatively to the individual, it comes and goes. So you're none of those masks, identities, but they function when you're being angry, you're angry. You are a self. Yeah. When you're being happy, you're happy. But when you go digging, well, okay, if I'm not that all the time, then I can't be that really. And if I'm not that all the time, I can't be that really. And if I'm not this all the time, I can't be that really. And that's why meditation practices are so profound in the East, is because they're going for digging, 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 digging until you come up to the realization that none of those things are you really. They go further. When you go looking, you come up empty. You can't find the thing you're looking for when you're searching. Yeah. And they go through this wonderful process. They go, let's divide you into two parts. You have two parts. You have a physical part. You are your body. Yeah. And you are your mind, not your brain. The brain is part of the body. Mind is the consciousness, the ineffable, the feelings, the sensations, the things you can't pin. Yeah.
Right.
And so you are both. You're your thoughts, your feelings, your dreams, your emotions, your mind, consciousness, and you are your physical form, your arms, your legs, your eyeballs, your hair, etc. Yeah, the blood and pus and guts and all the stuff they say. And they go, well, am I in the guts? If I remove the guts, am I still Brandy? If I remove a finger, am I still Brandy? If I remove an arm, at what point do I stop being Brandy? So you can't be found in the physical form. There's a conception of branding. Oh, it's a mental construct. Let's go looking in the mental constructs. Am I angry? Am I happy? Am I sad? Am I woman? Am I human? Am I just consciousness? And so they keep digging, digging, and they come up. You're not even human. Yeah, we're
Yeah.
currently using this hardware and this
Yeah.
software, but the program we make moment to moment to moment to moment. And that's the big deal. When you go looking, you'll come up empty. And that doesn't help anybody. It's like, okay, so I'm empty. So I'm not any of those things. And I could be any of those things. So who do I want to be? And here's the crux of the thing that I found to that profound question. What you do next, what you do tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow, in response to the good or the bad, shitty things, is planting imprints in that consciousness that force us later on to perceive the world through those imprints. And so if you're an angry person all the time, you are way more likely to only perceive the world as forcing you to be angry. And if you're like making efforts to be joyful or kind or compassionate, that's why those practices are love and kindness. If you're imprinting your mind with that, this consciousness that doesn't have a nature, it's empty, then it will take on that program and you will become that thing. You'll be forced to. You can't help it. It's like planting a seed. If you put a lemon in the ground, you ain't getting a tomato. I think we talked about that, right?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have to get a lemon. So if you're imprinting your self-talk and your judgment of the world and your perception of the world as this is just normal shitty reality, guess what's coming for you next week and next year and 20 years from now? You'll be forced to, because you're imprinting the nature of the perceiver. Because you're none of them, but you are the ones you've planted. And that sucks. And it's awesome. It sucks because we don't want all the
Yeah.
suffering. You're like, I didn't do this. Like, I hate my life at the moment. I didn't make this happen, but we're not planting seeds consciously most of the time. I don't know if that answered or if I rambled too much, but in there is the crux of why that question matters. It's not a, many people give up on that question. Many parents tell their kids to stop asking that question before they turn 10.
Yeah.
And then we go through, now I've gone through all my teenage years, and now I'm a Catholic, or I'm a Jew, or I'm a Buddhist. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You're none of them.
I know. The last time that we spoke, I remember you giving a really good metaphor analogy in terms of the self, and it stuck with me. And I remember in
Mm.
the conversation you said, you've had this realization now, and then you're going to forget
Yeah.
eventually. So I remembered what you said. And so then sometimes, like during my day, I'm like, Hector said I'd forget. Let me try to remember again what it was that he
Do you
said.
remember, or you're forgetting all the time?
I forgot. And then I remembered that I forgot. So then I try to remember again. Because it was really profound what you had to say in terms of the self, and in
Yeah.
terms of, I forgot the term that it was that you used, like inner.
You
I'm,
forgot.
tr- I'm trying. I know, right? I remember the gist of it, but it was a specific term that you used in terms of the
Mm.
self. Um,
I wish I could remember. Was it to do with the pen example?
yes, it has to do with the pen example, but
Okay, well, let's see if we can go there. If we had a
yeah,
recording, we could go back and look at it.
I know. It's all right. It's all right.
But here's an important thing. There's something now we remembered we forgot. It's already
Hmm.
weird. Okay.
I know.
That tension, Brandy, that wanting, that seeking, that's useful. It's
Yeah.
not a waste of time. It's not that, oh, we forgot and everything's lost. There's an energy of getting real about what these things are for, this yearning to Buddha, to wake up. And so I forget all the time. Yeah, that's what we do. We have a program to be normal, and every now and then a profound, beautiful insight arises. And in the realm of normal, it gets buried. It's okay. But it touched you, it did something, and it must have a result. And the yearning for it sort of feeds that seed. So it will come, don't worry. Even if it's not the same word, the realization will come. And it's
Right.
an important part of practice for me, especially because after researching what Buddhists really mean, I just don't want to be dogmatic about anything. Yeah, that's boring. It leads to trouble being human. Is there something that can transcend that normal? And if you touch it, you know you've touched it, and that comes in those moments. And
Right.
then don't worry, in this realm, where it's this realm of normal, uh, we're wired to forget it or be confused by it or vague of it. I think of it as I'm going to talk about Bushwick in Brooklyn. Um, I live in an old opera house, and it was like artists' place, and it turned into lofts. It's like the first or second lofts that were made in the 90s in New York, in Brooklyn, and it was pretty trashy. But everyone there smokes weed. I don't smoke weed, right? Like everyone's an artist and they smoke weed. So you walk into the hallway and there's this cloud of haze, weed,
Hmm.
right? And as soon as I walk I try and run to my apartment, but I can't help it sometimes. It takes over, and I'm a little hazy, and I'm like, I can't remember what things happened.
Yeah.
And so this realm is like that cloud in that hallway. We are
Yeah.
constantly in the hypnosis of normal, and it's difficult for us to ask these questions, let alone answer them, let alone hold the answer, let alone practice that answer. Because everything else points to no, but I exist in a very solid way. And we just discussed you don't exist at all in any solid way. Can our brains cope with the immensity of options we have about being? And it cannot. It needs to define you, just to just to conserve energy. It says no. If you're this, then everything will be okay, and it's a lie. It's actually a cause for suffering. So the example of the self, of what no self really means, it means no self nature. Yeah, that
That's what
something
it
has no.
was.
Oh, good. There we go. See,
Yeah. Self nature. That, yeah.
good. And if you understand that, then suddenly no self makes sense. Yeah, and so when we'll just be scientists of the mind and investigate what this object is, and I'm holding up what we call a pen, right? It's a plastic cylinder with stuff in it and the rest. And so if we observe that and say, what is that? And you'll say a pen naturally, right? Because it looks like a pen, it's a pen, right? But then if I ask that question that you asked me at the beginning, what am I really? What is it really? I know it's a pen, but what is it really? That goes a little deeper, right? Like, what is it if we weren't here to think of it as pen? And so the example is I hold up this thing, all the humans call it a pen. I'm like, okay, so it's a pen. We're all agreed. We're all agreed. It is a pen, by the way. Yeah. And then I say, okay, let's invite a whole bunch of puppies, like 100 puppies, 101 Dalmatian puppies, and show them this object without telling them what we know it is. And there's no way they think of it as a pen. There's no way they're sitting there going, I could write with that. There's no way that they're salivating, their tails are wagging, they're coming at this thing going, come on, throw it, come on, let me chew it, come on. It's a toy for them.
Yeah.
And so if this thing that I'm holding up is a pen from its own side, from its nature, if its nature is penness, to emanate pen, to radiate pen, if this was really a pen, every one of those puppies, humans, and anything else that walked in must be forced to experience it the way we think it exists, out there as a pen, radiating penness to everything. And as soon as that radiation hits the puppies, they're hypnotized and they're like, it's a pen, I better not chew it. But that's not reality. The reality is they think we're stupid for doing squiggles with their perfectly good chew toy. And so are we saying that the dogs are stupid? Wrong. They have a weird worldview, and which is what we do, and that's why there's wars. We think they're
Mhm.
wrong. They think we're wrong. They bite us. We kick them. That's what humans do, because they argue about, this is a pen. No, this is a chew toy. No, this is a pen. No, this is a chew toy. Now, let's still doesn't answer what is it really. We've just come up with two options for this object. So as soon as we kick out all the dogs and all the humans and conceive for a second that this object was just sitting there on its own, you could ask, what is it by itself really? And your mind goes into a kind of short circuit when you meditate on that. When you go, well, what is it? Wow, I can't define it. You could say a cylinder and then, no, that's a human concept. Dogs aren't sitting. So you'll go into this kind of infinite regression of, I can't come up what it is, what it is really. It is free of being everything. It's available to be anything dependent on who walks in. If a bat flew in, it ain't a chew toy and it ain't a pen either. Yeah, it's a landing stick or whatever.
Yeah.
If it rolled over a flea, it wouldn't be a pen, a chew toy, or a landing stick. It would be a, what is it? A Raiders of the Lost Ark rolling ball thing.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
so it's available to be as many infinite things as there are many infinite minds to perceive it. That's what it really is. It's empty of being what we thought it was, pen, tutor, etc. It has no self nature. Yeah, its nature is not to be pen because it can't be chew toy. So suddenly we're like, damn, that's another problem. Does it mean it doesn't exist at all? And the answer is, of course, it exists. We're talking about it, and dogs chew on it, and we write with it. It exists, but how does it exist? So we bring all the dogs and all the humans in, and we ask, is it radiating penness or chew toyness out? If it was, I must want to chew it too. So it can't exist that way. So it's not the source. It doesn't have that nature. Its nature is not being forced on me. That's not the way it exists really. Suddenly I'm like, well, it must be coming from the perceiver. The group of
Right.
humans are forced to experience pen. They can imagine it could be a chew toy, but it's a pen for them. Yeah, dogs might or might not be able to imagine that it could be something other than a chew toy. But for their consciousness, for those minds, individually and collective as dogs, they are forced. Something in their mind is forcing to perceive, label, project, connect to this thing as a chew toy, just like we are as pen. And in that sense, the pen is not a pen. There's no self nature to a pen. Yeah, there's no self nature to a chew toy. And that's exactly this. Now, sorry, one more thing. If suddenly we realize, damn, pen is not coming at me, but from me,
Mhm.
chew toyness isn't coming at me, it's coming from me, then we have some agency over a terrible universe. If it didn't, if terrible things were forcing themselves on us and we were out of agency, we're screwed. Like, go get drunk,
Yeah.
enjoy your life. But that's not the truth. Yeah. The
Yeah.
truth is, we are integrated in the perception and experience of whatever things that are in front of us, good or bad. We're projecting the experience and labeling it on objects that don't have that nature, that have no self nature. Yeah. And so suddenly you get very interested on how the hell did my mind make a pen and that little mind make a chew toy? Or if you want to make it more applicable, why, when I play my favorite music to my best friend who I love, and I just heard this song that's
Mm.
amazing, and my heart is like in tears wanting them to enjoy, and they're like, that's sort of garbage.
Right.
There's no self nature to the sounds, the decibels, the collection of music. The
Mhm.
experience that you're having comes from you. It ain't coming from the music. And because we don't understand this, this is the most fundamental thing. Because we don't understand this, we might fight with our friend because we think it comes from the music, and suddenly we think my friend's stupid. But they're not stupid. They're having their own experience of the thing.
Yeah.
And the reason that's important is because this misunderstanding of the world, thinking that it's coming at us, forces us to hurt other people, isolate other people, or get attached to things we really like, and then fight other people that don't like it.
Mm.
And what that does, this is the horrible irony, is it plants seeds in our minds of isolation, separation, being hurt, thinking other people are stupid, and we must be forced to experience the results of our minds. That what we planted will be forced to experience as our friends leaving us, people
Yeah.
thinking we're stupid, because that's where the projection came from in the first place. Your mind gets imprinted with an idea, and that's the only lens that dogs have to experience an object that has no nature into the nature of chew toy. And the more you chew on it, the more it'll be chew toy. I, I don't know if that's what you remember.
It is. No, it is. It is. It's it's funny because the first time you provided this concept to me, I mean, I've again, when you read philosophy books and when you self-help books, some people say that it's possible that we're the universe experiencing different parts of itself. Like you're a piece of the universe, I'm a piece of the universe. Um, and so the concept that you provide makes me think, obviously if the pen isn't exuding penness, if that's not its,
Yeah,
self
yeah.
nature, then when we apply that to ourselves, what does that say about our trauma or the things that have happened to us, like when we were
It,
younger,
it
you
has
know?
terrible implications and awesome implications. And
Yeah.
here in the East, they are much more, pardon me, They're much more analytical and cold about it.
Mm-hmm.
That they're just black and white about it. If I have pain, my mind must have had an imprint where I've made pain to others. There's no other cause for an internal experience of projecting pain. How does the projecting pain realize itself? Well, it grows into a tiny seed, grows into a massive tree with massive amounts of fruit that can create a whole forest of it. So you could be in a life where you are suffering traumas. It doesn't mean you created all those traumas to others in the past. It could be a moment of irritation, one tiny seed where you wished somebody was dead, or you wished somebody was hurt, or you wish somebody suffered, or you wished just a mental movement is enough to imprint your consciousness. You leave that seed in fertile ground, they say those seeds multiplied every 24 hours. You live that day after day after day after day. And in the East, there's a concept of past lives. I'm not asking anybody to believe them, and I'm happy to discuss it. But it means that as soon as you're born, you've already got a shit ton, no, an F ton of seeds that are projecting your reality. It's not that you came out of a mom. Your mind is projecting that you are a human, just like a dog is projecting, I am a dog. And your mind is projecting, this realm is the way I see it. Dogs see realms in a very same room as you're in a very different way. This explanation makes much more sense, and it's much more integrated than everyone's born at zero and my parents traumatized me. And I say this because I have 3 siblings. I'm the best. Yeah. Sorry.
Love that.
Everyone that's got siblings knows what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's fighting for the sibling.
Yeah.
And we all had exactly the same upbringing. We're a pretty insular, small family. Both my Anyway, and then we moved to Australia, so we became more tight. We suffered the same love and traumas,
Mm.
yeah, and we came out very different. I
Right.
interpreted mine very different to my siblings. Yeah. And, I can tell you, everyone's gone through depression medicine, everyone's curled up on the couch. And year after year, those traumas, that those things that happen to us, that our minds naturally experienced as trauma, and then our minds kept them going. Mum and dad are long dead, okay? My brother's still on the couch,
Mm. Yeah.
okay? You can blame it on my mum and dad if you want to, but he left them 40 years ago. Who kept the trauma going? I'm a little
Mm.
hard on trauma, okay?
Yeah.
Be, Even if it's terrible physical stuff. Uh, if there's one human being who has experienced that horrible thing and transcended it and integrated it, then it's possible for everyone else.
Right.
Because there's some agency in us that allows us to look at that horrible thing, to divide the thing to our experience of the thing, and then choose to either become a victim of the thing over and over, and that identity grows. I'm terrible because things don't work because, and we feed that. I know because I've done this about
Yeah.
other things. Or we can become a victor. I'm trying to use V words, Well, you can become wounded or you can become wise. How's that? You can become
Right.
wounded by the thing over and over and over, over and over and over. The thing happened once, over and over and over, over and over, decade after decade. And that's an easy excuse not to take responsibility for the stories in your mind, your self-talk. Unfortunately, the brain, the physical matter, doesn't help us because it likes habits. And so long as it's got a good habit, then the trauma can keep coming. Even if it feels terrible, at least I'm home. At least I'm home. But
Right.
it doesn't realize the consequence over decades. Yeah. So if there's one person that's healed trauma, you can too, because it's some agency you have. Yeah. Sorry, was that too much?
No, not at all.
I'm,
No,
I'm a,
you're never too
I'm a
much.
little,
No.
I'm a little forceful with it because I entertained too many people. So I teach Eastern philosophy, and I really did entertain too many people's traumas, and I think I didn't help them. I'm like,
Mm,
okay, let's hang out there and let's be gentle, and sometimes gentle works, but at other times you have to take responsibility for the stories circling your head, because that is the only place you have agency. You got no agency what mom and dad did, or the neighbor, or your schoolmates, or your siblings. You got no, they did it. The way your mind interpreted, you also didn't have much agency because they come from projections from the past. But
right.
by God, you got an agency to choose what you do next. It doesn't mean it's easy, but you got an agency to say, I stop today and I'm going to look for the lesson rather than surrender to the defeat. You know, and that's hard, but that's the only way.
Yeah.
The other way is horrible. What am I going to do? End up on the couch at 60 and have looked back at my life and I didn't take that opportunity, I didn't take that opportunity, I
Right.
didn't do that, I didn't love because they hurt me. Stop.
Yeah.
You have to stop. You have to stop the things you have agency to stop. And the things going around in your head, we all have agency to stop. Yeah. If you're still around triggering terrible situations, remove yourself. But I swear to you, that will not stop the triggers. You keep them going. I know because I've moved many countries, many, and then the same shitty stories come up every time. And they're mine.
Yeah. I hmm. It's interesting, I guess, what you're saying about trauma and like the childhood, because one thing that I've told um friends of mine, or one thing that I've like learned in therapy, is that when you're a child, basically your experiences create a lens with which you see the world as an adult, right? So how does meditation play into that lens? Like, does meditation kind of clean that lens in some
Awesome,
way?
awesome, 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 awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, what you just said is profound. Whoever that therapist said was good, right? Now apply that just to the idea of an infinite spaghetti of consciousness, a stream of awareness that before it was Brandy, it was someone else in a previous life, and a previous life,
Mhm.
and a previous life. And whatever happened last lifetime, 2 lifetimes ago, and whoever she was or they were, right? They've collected traumas and create a lens, and suddenly you're born into this family, or
Yeah.
suddenly you're born into the US, or suddenly you're born in
Yeah.
Argentina, suddenly you're born in 1999,
Yeah.
and everyone's freaking out. The planes are coming out of the sky.
Yeah.
Suddenly you're projecting the collection of all those lenses, life after life. By the way, that's why they say in Buddhism, Mozart could play at the age of 2, like in a way that you and I will never play, even if we practice every day, right?
Right, right.
So there is seeds, there are causes for a being to experience itself with certain capacities, lenses, awarenesses, biases, yeah. And what your shrink said is true for this lifetime, but not necessarily the traumas of this lifetime. They're coming to get you next lifetime too. That lens is coming to get you if you keep them going until you're 60
Right.
and they're on the couch, you see,
Yeah, yeah.
or you could smash them if you become aware. Where do these ideas reside? Where do these energies reside? Where does these concepts, labels, identities reside? And that's what meditation is for. Meditation says, I'm taking a break from the suction of everyday life. It's too much. It's too busy. I can't figure out where it is really, where this thing is coming from really. So you shut down. Get this. This is amazing. Meditation is not what everyone thinks. Meditation is you suddenly say, there's a thing here called Brandy. There's a thing called I. There's an identity that I think I am, and that's the source of everything I experience. That's the lens through which I see everything. The dirty lens, the happy lens, it's in there. I'm going to go find Hector. I'm going to go find the real one, the
Right.
real one. So the way to do that is, because the mind is too hyper, monkey mind, yeah, in there somewhere is this Hector, but he's like, the mind is untamable, it's monkey. I'm going to find it by systematically shutting down the things that the mind is obsessed on. So the way I think about it is, this monkey somewhere, it's got 6 windows, right? And it's looking out the window of things I can hear. Did you hear that? And can I listen to music? And can you hear people next to me? And what are they saying? So you go to a quiet place to meditate. You shut down that window. Monkey's like, shit, I better get busy looking, because the monkey only knows to relate to the stimuli from the senses. Okay. So you
Mm.
shut down the sound, you shut down the taste. There's nothing to chew, there's no meals or anything like that. So you're sitting down quietly, you stop movement, form, you shut down the window of movement, right? And you're like, okay, I'm still, what the hell? The body is shut down. So you shut down the window of what I can see, what I can touch, what I can taste. Yeah. So what else do we have left? Eyes, what I can see. That's like 80%. We're obsessed with looking at shapes and colors. And I like that one, I don't like that one. So that's why we close our eyes in meditation. We're like, no, that window's shut. Monkey's like, damn, can I smell anything? He's like, no, you've gone to a quiet place.
Yeah.
And suddenly that monkey thing that is obsessed by labeling, naming all the senses has nothing to do. And so the beginning of meditation is recognizing that sense of you without anything to see, anything to hear, anything to touch, anything to taste, etc., is going ape shit in there. It's like, what the
Yeah.
hell are you doing? I can't meditate. My back hurts. Here's like it's looking to open the windows. And the training of meditation is like, no, 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 let's keep going. Let's just hang out. We'll just hang out, monkey, just you and me. And then monkey goes to the 6th consciousness, which is mind, thought, memory, feelings. It's like, do you
Scary
remember your
stuff.
girlfriend? And that's why people try to meditate, and when they get there, they get a little shy, scared, and they
Yeah.
withdraw. But please don't withdraw, because you can get past that too. It's just a monkey needing an excuse to get busy looking and labeling something, right? So once you stop all that activity, which can take a couple of weeks or a couple of months, you suddenly become aware that you're just observing everything. Sounds come and go. You don't need to attach to them. Smells come and go. You don't need to go obsessed like the monkey. Memories come and go. They'll come and go. And then once you get past that little stage, you can begin to analyze and feel sensations before they come. So it's like, let's go and meditate on why I'm angry with such and such a person. And in meditation, like a flight simulator, you're not in the real situation, but you're going to do a flight simulation of, next time I'm with my bitchy friend who gets me angry all the time, I'm just going to sit there and go, is she the source of my anger, or is anger coming from me projected to her? Like the pen. Is
Right.
she the source of my anger, or is anger somewhere else? So let's sit there and check that out in my safe simulation. Nothing to see, nothing to hear. Monkey's busy now, got a new project. Let's find out where exactly anger is. Monkey's busy now. You're directing your consciousness to one thing, right? Let's figure that out. And you'll recall a time she made you angry, or in another time, and you'll say, hold on, let's rewind that, fast forward it. Let's analyze. She's just being her. I don't have to get angry. There's been times where she was her and I wasn't angry. Therefore, she's not angriness. She's not projecting
Right.
anger. Or you could say, all the other friends think it's funny and I walk away angry. It can't be her, because otherwise she'd be projecting it to everyone else. So it's projected from me. Damn, I have seeds for anger and I can work on those. And suddenly you're like, okay, what would I imagine myself being if I showed up to her next week where we have a party, and if I wasn't angry? And so there's a whole meditation called Future Refuge, where you could throw yourself into the future pretend you've got all the answers, you won't be angry, and just fantasize what it would be like to be next to your friend without you turning angry and maybe seeing something beautiful instead. And then you do those meditations enough, you go and you go to the party, and suddenly you realize, damn, I'm angry again. No, no, which will happen. But you do that enough times, even through that, that there'll be a time where you're like, I don't even have to be angry. And God, she's beautiful. There's something stunning about her. She's just sad. That's why she talks that way about things. But if I look past her sadness with a little compassion, I can take this moment and maybe really be a friend. And suddenly, what used to be a shitty relationship becomes a useful, wonderful relationship, compassionate relationship. And that's why all these practices are important. And meditation is the key to that. You do a flight simulation after you got past the monkey not knowing what to do.
Mhm.
You do a flight simulation of specific things to either analyze and come to a capital T truth, just so you can have different action. Yeah, just so you can have a different action, because the action will plant a seed, and that seed will force your reality. It's an integrated system.
Yeah, I see
It's
that.
really cool.
I see that. That's so interesting.
Yeah,
Um, so I know personally that monkey is that monkey's tough. Uh,
yeah,
um, especially being someone with anxiety, and I just naturally overthink everything. I feel as though, yeah, it's like I'm always seeking,
me
searching.
too.
Such a scanner.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, it's crazy. I
Well,
wish
you're
I
going
could
to
just
love
be.
Tibetan Buddhism, because the Tibetans are hyper visual about details in meditation. And so you could use that over scanning to get focused on a specific aspect of mind. So they have very complex meditation visualizations, precisely to allow the mind to comfortably enter a mode. You don't have to like get so minimal, which most people
Right.
relate to meditation. I have to think of nothing. By the way, that's a complete mistake. It's impossible to think of nothing because you're
Right.
thinking. Dumb. It's dumb. But it's a misunderstanding of that emptiness I was talking about. People misunderstand emptiness to nothingness, and it doesn't mean nothingness. It just means it doesn't have a self nature. It's actually got everything in it. It's infinitely potential. What you thought was there isn't there. It's empty of being that. And somehow in early 60s, we translated that into emptiness, and some stupid people decided, let's meditate on nothingness, on blanking out, on trying to see blackness. There is no use. It's a waste of time. It will kill your mind. It'll confuse you. In that debate was had between China and Tibet in the year 700, and there were two groups of Buddhists that said we should meditate on nothing. That's what emptiness meditation means. And no, we should meditate on an object, on something. This is
Hmm.
great debate. Master Kamala Shila sort of killed the debate over weeks, and the people that thought you should meditate on nothingness were suddenly meditating on an object of your attention, whether it's a physical object or a mental object. So we got it wrong in the West. It's hard to see people that have been trying to meditate on nothing
Yeah.
because our minds don't do that. Our minds are constantly scanning and applying labels and meaning. What we're looking for in meditation is, what is that mechanism of things don't have a nature, but we do have an experience. There is no pen, but it is a pen for me. There is no chew toy, but it is a chew toy for me. What is the causes of that projection? Because if that is the mechanism, then if I understand what seeds to make to experience this me as divine, as awakened, as loving, as whatever, then I better be busy planting those courses, because my mind will project something. And meditation is understanding the mechanism and getting very detailed about choosing the seeds you're planting in your mind. So in time, you walk into the forest that you've planted, which is full of kindness, wisdom, no anxiety, because anxiety comes and goes. It's not permanent.
Hmm.
You see what I mean? The
Yeah.
identity of I'm anxious because I'm anxious 80% of the time, 70% of the time, 90% of the time, 99% of the time.
Yeah.
If you're 1% not anxious, like when you're sleeping, then your mind doesn't have that nature either.
Right.
It's like the pen. And what you habituate, you become. So if you tell yourself you're anxious, if you look for scanning and proof, see I'm anxious, guess what you're going to be? The chemical processes will remind
Right.
you, but it's just chemical processes. And then your mind is labeling that stuff in a particular way. And so the practice of meditation is to get ahead of the game and do a like preemptive strike in the simulation to say, no, 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 you can attack anxiety. And there's methods to do that, right? And one of the ones is plant the seeds of no anxiety. And there's a couple of ways to do that. In meditation, you can just imagine what you were like when you weren't anxious, and or you can just imagine and abide and feel, get your full physical feeling of what it would be like when you are not anxious. And that mental moment is enough to plant a construct that you must step into its fruits later.
Mm.
That's on the cushion. Off the cushion, you can still plant seeds of no anxiety by helping people with anxiety a little bit. So you're constantly looking for ways to help someone that's got anxiety not have it. Don't get anxious about it, just help them, right? And
Right.
then that plants the seed of being helped with your anxiety. Suddenly people will appear. If this
Right.
philosophy of projections is true, everything we do, say, and think makes an imprint, and then you relax. The imprint must give a fruit. The only problem is you don't know how long it takes. Yeah. And that's what the Buddhists are all into studying. What makes something grow faster? What makes something more potent? What we do know is that in this realm, in that haze of my hallway, right,
Yeah.
the tendency for things to go garbage here are more than the tendency for things to go well. There's more suffering here than there is happiness. We have a negative bias where we pay attention to negativity way more than we do to positivity. I don't know if I talked about this last time we tried, but if I gave you 100 compliments, like I
Hmm.
really like your background, the lights are nice, oh, the shine on your skin, you look so youthful, I can't believe that you have a daughter, your hair is so lovely, look at that gray sweater, your smile, oh my God, your teeth, but that eyebrow, it's a little wonky,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, what's going to ruminate in our minds more is the eyebrow. You're
Right.
going to like forget all the things. So
Yeah.
we're a magnet for garbage here. We're in the haze,
Ugh.
right?
Yeah.
So it takes way more effort to begin the habit. If you understand the mechanism, train your mind to plant seeds of the world you'd like to have, despite the haze, despite the garbage, for long enough for those things to take root. And then you'll enter a forest where the fruits are exactly what you wanted. And then you'll realize why not just the Buddhists, but all the other practices are kindness, compassion, forgiveness, love, like do all the good things that you want, because it's planting seeds in your consciousness to do that.
Mm. That sounds like it's in essence manifestation to some degree.
I don't know what that means. An essence manifestation.
Manifestation.
Oh, in
I'm
essence, it's a manifestation. Yeah,
right. Right.
yeah. This is the thing about manifestation. What I just said about the object isn't projecting onto us, but we are projecting the object. You take that to its logical conclusion, you are the universe. There is no
Yeah.
other way to perceive the universe the way you're perceiving it. The universe doesn't exist in any other way for you than the way you're perceiving it. In that sense, you are the universe. There's no brandy that exists in my capacity to experience brandy separate to my projections of brandy.
Right.
Whether I have it right or wrong, that's the one I've got. Because there isn't a right or wrong in that sense. Because Brandy doesn't have the right to force her own perception of her to everyone else, because everyone else will have a different Brandy. There are as many brandies as there are beings perceiving brandy, each of them with their own biases, good and bad.
Right.
So if I see a lovely, powerful, joyful, wonderful, wise person, and you're feeling depressed today, who's
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
You see what I mean? You're just one more
Yeah.
bastard projecting
Yeah.
yourself onto that thing. I'm
Yeah.
just another one. And so there's this concept in Hinduism called Indra's net. And it's like every mind, every consciousness perceiving every consciousness. It's like this massive net of jewels, like diamonds, multifaceted diamonds. And every diamond perfectly reflects every single other diamond on the net. So their own experience of all of existence and all beings is their own. But so is this one's. And there's no other way we exist, interdependently like that. I can only ever perceive you through the lens of my biases. And that's who I'm going to die with. Like, I will die with the brandy that I experienced. You're going to die with the brandy you experienced.
Yeah.
And that will force you to meet other brandies like that in future lives. So you choose. Is she being a bitch or is she trying to teach me a lesson? That's hard, but it's better if you think she's trying to teach you a lesson, even if you're sort of faking it at the beginning, because over time, you will only ever hear lessons from people that are being bitchy. And then you own the power, you drive the bus.
Yeah. So in our conversation, you brought up, I guess, like reincarnation a few times. I've always found that super fascinating.
Mm, 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 mm.
um,
I hated it. I resisted it. Oh my God. So I can talk about it.
yeah, I remember like I don't know because I've been to like Buddhist temples before and them basically I don't know if this is correct or not, but basically learning that we have this like karmic debt that we're constantly trying to work off through lifetimes.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the right way of working it out.
I hear it a lot. A couple of things. I'm so judgmental. Once we get onto a bandwagon of misunderstanding something, like karma isn't a debt, okay?
Yeah.
But you could see why it's expressed that way. Yeah, I'll explain karma. It's in the fourth chapter of the Abhidharma Kosha. The first lines are no, no. The universe comes from deeds. Yeah. In other words, karma is creating your experience of all of reality, the universe. Okay. So first of all, everything we experience is karma. Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, it says karma is the movement of the mind and what follows. In other words, I put something in front of you, your mind says it's an iPhone, and what follows is you relate to the iPhone in whatever iPhone-ness it has. I pull up a pen, you do the same. Every time your mind moves, thoughts, feelings, sensations, expressions, is a karma. Now, there's two ways to describe karma, as a cause and as a result. So the movement of the mind is like I experience a reality, it's a result of, it must be a result of something in the past, but in me, not out there, although it is also out there, right? But then what I do about it plants a different seed, a different karma. Yeah. And so we are forever collecting seeds and experiencing the results of seeds. But the experience of the result is ever amplifying. That's why the universe is amplifying. It's ever expanding, right? There's fruits, make more fruits, make more fruits, more seeds, make more seeds, make more fruits. So everything's expanding. And so two types of karmas, what we experience, can't do anything about it at the moment, and how we react to it. That you have agency or appear to have agency. Yeah. Meditation gives you more space to observe and then choose a response rather than react. Yeah. And when you choose a response, you're setting the direction of what karmas you're collecting, what bag of seeds are going to be forced on you next lifetime. Why were you born here and not in Afghanistan? Well, I don't know. Were you born in Afghanistan? No, okay. You see what I mean? Why were you born?
Yeah.
if we're projecting reality, why are you projecting reality as a human and not a bat? And that's karma. Karma is the forced experience of reality must have had a cause. That cause is in my consciousness, rolling over life after life after life. What I do now will force some poor person in the future to live just like you planned it. Now, you could be that person in the future, next year or in a decade or the rest, and or whatever their names are going to be and their identity is going to be, but they're going to have the same flavor. You're creating now, you're molding now the karmas for the next Mozart or the next Mussolini. You decide, yeah, how
Yeah.
you'll live your life today. In the process, you're experiencing the results of what this consciousness, this mind stream, which doesn't end, it had no beginning, it doesn't have an end, the thing that the monkey's made of, raw awareness, that's been there forever. It's always there. But it's not mine, it's separate. I can't read your thoughts, you can't read my thoughts. Okay?
Right.
So in that sense, we're not everybody. Yeah, and there's some philosophical differences between different systems about past lives and the rest. So in that way, you could see, oh, it's a debt of what I did last life that I'm experiencing this life. If you think of it as debt, it sounds shitty.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is true. It's a bank account. How about that? It's a bank account. Karma is a bank account. Okay. And we're freaking lucky because if you look at all the existing living things on the planet, including bugs, amoeba, fish, worms, monkeys, elephants, birds, seals, humans, you hit the jackpot. Yeah, you're not being eaten underwater. You're not being squished. Yeah.
Yeah.
You seem to be able to communicate. You seem to be able to choose and create and express in a way that those other consciousnesses seem limited to do. Yeah. So in terms of karmic debt, no, karmic bank account, yeah. We have this massive bank account and we just got the American Express black card or something.
Right.
Now, we got lucky. We just to be human, to be breathing, like you're not making any effort to breathe through the two holes in your face, right? It's just happening. That's a karma. Some people don't have that karma. Some animals don't have that karma. You know, you have the seeds to project sunrise, sunset. Worms don't even do that.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? Like that's a karma. So yes, it's a bank account. Yes, you got the black credit card, but by God, we're spending. We're spending. We're spending. Even depressed humans are spending
Yeah.
more than happy worms. Okay.
Yeah.
So in terms of all the consciousnesses, we hit the jackpot even if you're having a shitty human life. You have a human life. You can conceive of getting out of suffering. That's a part of your bank account that as soon as you start swiping, it brings down the credit.
Yeah.
And so you need to put money back into the bank account if you want to continue having this beautiful human experience, or even more, have a transcendent human experience. Because we're not human. That's just our current projection. You can become a Buddha. And I know it sounds crazy, and I used to think, oh, I'm not saying that too loud, but now I'm old and dead soon, and I've done this practice for long enough. I can say, I swear to you, the way you're projecting yourself isn't the way you are. There is no self nature. Yeah.
Yeah.
If that's true, then why go for happy human with a house and a beach? Stupid. You're going to die. Go for Buddha. Go for infinite being who can help all beings in all planets and perceive how to reach them through whatever.
Yeah.
And so there are practices for that consciousness, what the monkey's made of, to be experiencing itself not as depressed and not as human, but as reaching everyone with love and wisdom so everyone can free themselves. That's a better projection, but that you need investment. Like you need to build a bank account. And the way you do that is through all these practices that we associate Buddhism with, and other systems. Be kind to people. Try and be kind to people. Walk out of the house wherever you are today and say, if they don't have a nature like the pen, then I shouldn't be judging them and be annoyed. I've got no idea what their lives are like. So I'm going to treat them like I would like to be treated. What if I just look for one beautiful thing in every human that passes me, even the upset ones, especially the upset ones? I
Yeah.
wish they weren't upset.
Yeah.
What about the ones that are just angry all the time and coming at me? What if I just don't give a F anymore about them in that
Yeah.
way, and just have at least compassion? What torture it must be to be angry all the time, you poor bastard. I wish you didn't
Yeah.
have to do that. You're still not coming to hit me, but at least in my heart, I wish I could help you. And if you plant those seeds, especially in relation to the shitty things in your life, you have to eat the results. There's no way you're not getting a ripe tomato from a tomato seed. You're gonna have to eat tomatoes. You're gonna have to eat sweet
Yeah.
fruit, peaches, or whatever. If you're sending out love and wisdom and hope day after day after day, despite what's in front of you, you're loading up that bank account so you can experience yourself being way beyond just a happy human who's going to die later. And that's a real practice of Buddhism. Buddha means to wake up. To Bud is to awake. Buddha is the one who woke up. It's not that there was some special person. They're just shitty humans like us going, listen, wake up. The world's not coming at you. It's coming from you. The implication of that is plant the seeds that you will project this place as a bliss paradise rather than a shitty suffering world. And that world will exist for you as real as pens are for humans and as real as chew toys are for dogs. Except for you, it would just be, I know the mechanism, and all I know is to generate bliss because I'm giving away bliss.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's why the system is integrated. Like meditation helps you do that in a simulation because we can't do that. I go into the subway, I lose this idea straight away. The stinky person next to me, I get annoyed, and
Yeah.
then I have to remember to practice. That's why it's called practice, because you're not doing it. You're
Yeah.
practicing. You're like, I gotta practice. I gotta practice.
Uh, that's beautiful. That helps you realize, I guess, how much agency you really do have over your life and the direction that
Way,
it's going
way
in.
more. But it's not in the moment. That's the problem. We get
Yeah.
caught that I'm doing all these kind things now, and then a bad thing will happen. And our misunderstanding, the one in the haze, the one in the hallway with weed, will think, oh, I'll give up being nice. Don't give up being nice. You're planting good peach seeds. Don't give up
Yeah.
planting peaches because you just got brushed against a lemon thorn. Keep
Right.
planting, especially now, keep planting peaches. So because we haven't seen the fruits of our planting, we get despondent. But if you understand that plants will take time to ripen, you will be feasting in sweet fruit. And listen, that's the same for every negative thing that we experience internally as well. So if you suffer from depression, if you suffer from negativity, bad self-talk, I'm not good enough, no one loves me, everybody hates me, I'm going to go eat worms, whatever your story is, which I have too, we all have it. You're not alone. Okay. There's a powerful practice where you say, okay, since it's a projection of my mind about me, and that's what the reality of it is, little r reality, then I'm going to use this opportunity to just imagine that because I'm feeling this way, and God, it feels horrible. But what if I could remove it from one person who's also feeling horrible and doesn't know how? So you
Yeah.
just sit there and imagine your friend who's also depressed, and you're like, bitch won't be depressed today because I'm
Yes.
feeling depressed.
Yeah.
And you fantasize on a positive seed based
Right.
on a negative feeling. And over time, you can't associate that negative feeling anymore with negativity, but with a kind of joy that comes from removing it from someone else. And so there are meditations where whatever you're feeling a negativity, you're like, acknowledge it is here. I don't know how long it'll last. Maybe it'll be a half a day of depression or 2 hours of mental fog or whatever. But I'm going to imagine not just my friend, What about all the people in all the other countries with other languages who feel this way and can't tell anybody? What about all the people stuck in nursing homes, unable to express how depressed they are? And then you ham it up, you make it really expansive, and you're like, the entire realm of humans, for this 1 second that I'm feeling depressed, cannot feel depressed. And I'm going to eat it up for you because I'm feeling it. So screw it, I'll take it
Mm.
for the team. And suddenly you get this kind of joy and pride, imagining the old lady sitting on her wheelchair, surprises like, why am I feeling happy? Like,
Yeah.
and you fantasize about the goodness that you've just created. That's a sure way to, over time, remove the grip or the hook of those negative states of mind: depression, anger, jealousy, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
It's
That sounds
supposed to
like
be
a,
practiced.
yeah, it's supposed to be yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I I know that sometimes when I talk to like friends of mine, we're all in our late 30s now.
Haha.
uh, we're in our late 30s now. And there's such a like it's funny because you want certain things for your life. Like I have friends that haven't accomplished quote unquote certain like the things that they've wanted to, whether it's getting married, buying the house, having the children or whatnot, right? So I guess putting on those identities, it's almost as if we search for the labels to kind of
Yeah.
comfort ourselves in a way. Um, so I'm wondering in terms of like meditation and past lives and all of that, the need for labels, like is there a way to remove that like need for a label?
No, not really. With even the Buddha is labeling themselves as enlightened,
Mm,
not by
yeah,
choice, but by impulse. Like they're in the magic center forest where all the fruits are forever ripe because they caused it that way. You see what I mean?
right, right,
And they're not planting any negative seeds anymore because they understand the mechanism. So that's what wisdom's all about: understanding that things don't come from themselves, but they come from a projection. Therefore, what I do causes future projections. That's the summary. Yeah. So there's no way of escaping the mind labeling itself something.
mm,
So what we do is we use the mechanism of labeling to choose healthy labels. And by healthy labels, I mean ones that are actually useful. I I don't want to sound negative, but I think I've married 12 couples, yeah,
hmm,
of which 9 or 10 are still together, and
okay.
maybe four of them have babies, yeah. And I have seen people who love each other deeply, immensely, strongly, enough to want to get married publicly and show the world, look how we love each other. And of course, the rest of the cynical world comes to the weddings going, oh, this is so sweet. They've got something we don't have, this infinite love, which is true. In that moment, they do. That's why
Right.
we come. That's why we come gawking at, at weddings. We're like,
Right.
oh, it's possible. It is possible, right? But things are changing. And unless we know the mechanism, you can't sustain it. It will change. Yeah. So wanting the label of if I get married, I'll be happy is bullshit. We learned that label from stories, and it can make you happy, but happiness doesn't come from marriage. The
Right.
joy that you're looking for is somewhere in you. I have seen couples that have come together, promised to love each other forever. And as soon as they each took on the label, I am husband, I am wife, they were boyfriend, girlfriend, right? Before they
Yeah.
had a different label. The same people, weeks later, that's all, just weeks later.
Yeah.
I disagree with the way you think wife should be labeled. I disagree with the
Right.
way you think husband is this. No, husband is this. No, pen. No, chew toy. You
Yeah.
see what I mean? And so then they break up.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a friend who just did that after a year.
Yeah.
Different label will come up, will bring up things you don't even know about yourself yet. You think you want wedding. You think you, and
Yeah.
I'm not saying don't get married, because for some people, oh my God, it's changed their relationship deeper.
Mm.
Proof that it doesn't come from getting married.
Right.
Proof that it only comes from whatever storehouse of, what do you call it, karmic debt,
Yeah.
the bank account of seeds you've got. So if you want to know what kind of wedding or what kind of marriage you're going to have, thinking that getting married will fulfill your goals, first of all, it wasn't your goal in the first place. It's stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got it from Disney. Yeah,
It's true.
I know,
Yeah.
but nobody talks about it because it's also super sweet. My God, Disney put it there because it's a profound human experience to actually
Yeah.
lose yourself in another person's eyes and abide there and want to abide there forever. I'm not
Yeah.
cynical about love, okay? I'm just, I want to protect people from destroying that love because they've put a label to, if I get the house, if I get the career, if I get the box, that box is too small for the immensity of love. Your story about the box is too small for what that could be. So the label will bring up in us identities we had no idea of. I'm wife. Suddenly, wives have all these requirements, and you're not treating me that way, or husband, or partner, or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, if you want to know how your wedding's gonna, how your how your marriage is gonna uh, come up, a couple of things to look for. How were you judging all other people that were married? So, if you including your parents' marriage,
Hmm.
including, if you want to see the likelihood of what seeds you've got about
Right.
marriage, see how you've been see how you've been thinking about other people's marriage. Oh, they're not good together. Oh, they're gonna fight. They're the seeds you're
Right.
planting who are coming to visit you,
Right.
including the Cinderella story and the yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But there's no marriage separate to that one, the one we're forced to project based on our seeds. Getting getting a certificate together
Yeah.
in a ceremony isn't fulfilling anything. Actually, I even for couples that deeply love each other, I've seen them walk away going, "Damn, we should have spent the money on a house or something."
Right. Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I, I
I've
don't want
seen
to sound
that.
cynical. I want to tell you that there is a kind of love that you can have with another person, where talking about no self, you are willing to not be anything so you could be everything for them. Where you could look like, I've seen these gays when I married people and they're like, like, I really don't care the consequences about me. All I want from now on is for you to be everything you want to be. There is a chance, there is that kind of love as a functional love, and everyone has that capacity, but not without the seeds, not without
Yeah.
trying to help other people do that.
Yeah. It's like the frame isn't important to the picture in some
Exactly,
ways.
perfect. And
Yeah.
you have been painting the picture long before the frame came.
Right.
Yeah, that's so good.
Uh, I've enjoyed this conversation, Hector. Thank you so much.
Same.
Our second conversation in the books.
Yeah, it's good. I think it's
Yeah.
because the first one was good. But listen, I'm saying lots of things that has taken me 20 something years to study, meditate on, mess up with, teach, and the rest. And I got all of it from entering the place I run now, Three Jewels, where we teach
Mhm.
the ancient Eastern philosophy courses on perception, karma, past lives, etc. So I'm inviting you to not just go, okay, that sounds good. If you're really interested, hit me up or come to Three Jewels or connect with Three Jewels. We teach these concepts all the time as a non-profit, so we try and give it away free or by donation, so people can understand what is it really that these ancient books and practices are trying to do. They're not to be in a monastery in a cave and be a monk. Forget that frame. They are to be used on your wedding day, in the subway, home alone, in your simulation when you're dealing with who am I really? Who am I really? And really,
Yeah.
you are infinite potential. But what you relatively really will be is your is the consequences of how you think, say, and do towards others. So then the only option is just love and forgive, like be compassionate and loving. That's it. If you want a shortcut.
Yeah. I also see that you have online courses as well. Like people can join via Zoom for those of us that aren't in New York. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Like we have a ton of international. We have small groups in different cities now, tuning into our philosophy courses. They're 10-week courses. The ones that go in depth about past lives. So we have a 10-week course on past lives, very detailed. It will blow your mind. Or we'll do our meditation teacher training, or our actually in the next 2 weeks, I'm going to teach a
Yeah.
meditation basics training where you actually understand the mechanics of meditation and not get lost in the fear of the monkey. And all of that is online, so people can do all that from anywhere in the world. But it's better if you do it live. So it depends where you are in the world and the time that we're offering those things. Yeah,
Right. Right. Well,
yeah.
thank you again. Thank you so much. Where can people find you online?
So a couple of places online on Instagram. I am at Wake Upist. Yeah. Uh, you can find anything that I teach, or all the people that I've taught over the decades are now teachers at 3 Jewels. So we have over 50 teachers that I've trained. And that's 3jewels.org. And you can see all our schedule. 3 Jewels as in spelled out 3, and jewels as in jewelry, diamonds. Yeah.
Yeah.
3jewels.org. We're a 501c3 nonprofit. We're run entirely by donations or volunteers. And well, not entirely by donations. We charge for certain things. And we do retreats, we do trainings, we do meditation, yoga, community outreach work. It's a really cool community to keep these ideas alive, because whilst you're not practicing so well, someone else is, and you're reminded, oh damn, that's right, I got to meditate today. So
Yeah.
that's my selfish way to keep myself thinking this way while I walk down the hallway of haze. Like
Yes. Yeah.
we're in this terrible place where negative bias is always around. 3 Jewels
Yeah.
for me is just the focus and the joy and the love that other people practicing this thing are trying to do in a real way. We're not trying to be Buddhists, although that's the definition of Buddhist, but we're trying to apply it to today, to this life, to this thing, and find our purpose. Our purpose for me now is, can I invite other people to wake up?
I love that. I love that. Thank you again. I've enjoyed our conversation. I encourage everyone to check out 3 Jewels and to follow Hector online at the Wake Upist. Your content is really good.
Oh,
It gives me
good.
like
Thank you.
little bursts of inspiration whenever I find your content on my feed. So I appreciate
Cool.
all the work you're doing.
Thank you. I love doing it. I love sharing it. Blessings
Yeah.
to you. Have a good day.
Thanks, you too. Bye, everyone.
Bye.